Yo, people, welcome back to another episode with me, your boy Josh. How did I do it? I think Sarah's this way, innit? Sarah, I can't bother to do it, but you know the vibes, innit? Yeah, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and share with your people. And you guys, we got a very, very, very special guest in the building. Big up our guy Tich. What are you telling us, man?
I'm good. Apologies. The last time I was meant to be on here, I couldn't do it. It was my son's birthday. It's my mother-in-law's birthday today, actually. But yeah, I'm glad that I can sit down with you lot and we can recap. So thanks for having me.
Nah, it's a pleasure, man. Tell them a bit about your channel, innit?
So obviously I'm a West Ham fan, but I'm a football man. So the channel basically is a bit of comedy, which I ain't done for a while. Just different, like compared to all the other fan channels, mine is more about the editing and the graphics. I was doing a lot of live stuff recently, and then I've sort of fallen back from that. And next season, I think I'm gonna go back to the pre-recorded and editing type of stuff. So it's just a football channel. I've got a lot of concepts on there that is not your average shows and stuff that I do, and I hope to get some of you guys on there taking part next season. So yeah, it's just a football channel, but it's slightly different to all the other West Ham channels.
Lovely stuff. Links will be in the description below, so you man make sure you go over there and you support. But the season's finished. Mad season. Our first full season together doing the Football Heritage, the whole full season. It's been a roller coaster, and I don't think there's any better place to go to than the final day with City and Liverpool. Let me pull up the table. Let me get it up. Wait, give me 1 second. Premier League table. So let me start with Sarah, because he's almost like a special guest nowadays. He's too bougie to come on nowadays. Sarah, what was your thoughts on the whole? Because I don't know, there isn't really much new things to say about this. Like City and Liverpool are the best teams in the league. So what can you say we've learned anyway in this last month or so?
I think we know both teams, credit to both, mentality monsters. Like, it doesn't matter who plays, who's on the pitch. Both the managers have executed their game plans from game one. And I didn't watch the games, but City thought they were basically out of it after half time. 2-0 down. Coutinho looked like Jared was going to produce a masterclass for Liverpool. And then Gundogan comes on, etc. And they start stitching play together. Apparently Zinchenko's best game ever. But on the other side, Liverpool can keep going through. Mane's finished the season excellently, great form. And look, both teams, I think we've already been arguing about this anyway, but this is probably the best and biggest rivalry we've had in terms of two top teams. Maybe the only ones that compare with maybe Arsenal and United from the early 2000s, late 90s. But yeah, Pep, Klopp, they know how to. They've kept on going. You'd think after City's exit against Real Madrid, it would have been a bit, they would have phased the season out, not really finished strongly, conceded the title to Liverpool. But no, both teams 90 plus points again for the fourth season in a row. It's just insane. So hats off to City. Liverpool, great sort of challenge, and we'll see what happens with them next week.
Mm-hmm. You know what? I feel like we're gonna go around in circles. So
yeah, we will.
Let's scrap the whole love affair with Liverpool, Man City. Denzel, we're coming for your boy. We're coming for your boy. Is Pep gonna get Sir Alex out of this best manager?
Oh, get out of here with that talk, man. I don't. Obviously, Ori will argue the other side of the argument, but I don't buy it. The whole Pep greatest Premier League manager, it's way too premature. Even the sample size argument is kind of, but I don't agree with the sample size argument, because if there was a point in time where Sir Alex won 4 titles in 5 years or so, so the sample size thing, I don't think that's a valid argument. Sir Alex won 13 Premier League titles. How can we be rubbing him out? It doesn't make sense to me. I don't even think it's a debate at this point in time. When Pep wins another 9 Premier League titles, then we can have the discussion. But until then, there's only one goal. when it comes to Premier League football.
All right.
Yeah.
Rebuttal.
Interesting. Denzel, do you think that if Pep is at City at the same time span as Ferguson in United, that he doesn't win up to 13 titles?
Hypotheticals. This is the
Sorry?
thing. If what
No, I'm
shoulda,
just I
woulda,
know
coulda,
it's all hypothetical, but I'm just
all
asking for
hypotheticals,
your opinion.
so you can't
Do you
base a
think-
GOAT debate on hypotheticals. You have to
I
base it
know.
on facts.
That's why I'm asking for your opinion. I'm not asking for a fact. I'm saying
Well, in a-
honestly, as an honest like football supporter, we're both here on the podcast. We're just talking football. Do you genuinely think that Pep can win? How long was Ferguson at United? 26?
Nine,
I think,
yeah.
About 26 years.
I think
or something like that.
In 25,
25.
26 years.
Yeah,
Just 26 years. Pep has been at City for how long?
6 years.
6
years,
years, and he has won 4 titles.
An established side.
He
An
needs
already
20 more years.
established side.
20 more
Yeah.
years to win 9 titles.
Wasn't really
Do
a
you
rebuild.
think? Do you
He
think?
didn't really come in to rebuild the team, did he?
Do you
Let's be
think?
honest.
Pep,
I'm out of time.
Already
So,
established.
all right.
Yeah.
You say your points, and then Denzel, I'll let you rebuttal.
Okay, yeah. So I guess in terms of like mathematically, he would need to win 9 titles in 20 years to kind of match up to which from what he's been doing, I mean, I think everyone on this like podcast should probably be quite confident that Pep can win 9. He's not going to stay in City for 20 more years, but basically what I'm just saying is that like we all know that he can definitely do that. It's all hypothetical for now, but I don't know, in terms of as a Premier League manager, what he has done in this league, like the things we're seeing now, like when we look back, we're going to talk about these things like they're things from like, you know, unbelievable stuff. He reached the 100 points mark when nobody else had ever done that before. The maximum number of points you can get in a Premier League season is 114. He got 100. He dropped 14 points in a full Premier League season. And there were even games in there that he could have even won. Obviously, you know, all hypothetical, but just to even think about that is just incredible. He's broken the 90-point barrier about 4 times.
4 times, I think. Yeah.
4 times, I think. Yeah.
Times.
I mean, there was a time in the Premier League where people were winning the league with 79 points. Like he has broken the barrier. He has broken the expectations. Now everyone is like when everyone talks about like I mean, Eric Ten Hag did an interview. Was it today? And they were asking him about the Pep and Klopp. Everybody knows like these two are doing something that is just not, you know, normal. They're operating at a very high level. Consistently reaching 90 points, breaking. One could argue that like Ferguson was never really pushed at that level. I don't know about that.
Bro,
I don't know about that.
man.
I don't know about that.
This is ridiculous.
Pushed at
Are
the
we
level.
sitting there and hearing,
I'm
definitely
definitely telling you
Arsene
that
Wenger was a
Klopp-
bum.
I'm
That's what we're saying
I'm
now.
definitely.
Don't think
Wenger
Jose
was a bum.
Mourinho pushed him.
Mourinho was a bum, apparently. These men were all bums. He never got pushed.
I didn't say they were all bombed. I mean, for majority of his time, I don't think no one has pushed Ferguson the same way Klopp is pushing Pep. I can personally say that.
I disagree.
I can personally say that. I think Klopp is pushing him at an unreal level. How do you have someone who's getting 90 points plus and not winning the league? They've done that
initially
2
happened
times
when
now.
Ferguson was. I'm pretty sure there was a season in which, in fact, let me even, because this whole 90-point thing, it's
contextual as well.
People's minds.
It's contextual as well.
Liverpool have done this twice in like, and they
Okay.
both 90. They reached 97. They didn't win the league with 97.
Yeah, that season was ridiculous.
Liverpool
Has Ferguson reached 97 points? Has Ferguson reached 97 points?
Listen,
Ori, Klopp has a higher.
All right. Let Denzel go. Let Denzel go.
Your original point was, Sir Alex Ferguson never was pushed. There was literally a season where Liverpool only lost 2 games, the 08-09 season, and he still won the league.
No, I'm saying he wasn't pushed the same way Klopp. I'm saying he wasn't pushed the same.
He wasn't pushed. He didn't play great.
That isn't a
narrative. That's
that
a dead
isn't even a
narrative.
narrative to even dismiss. If anything, I
That's
was
a
even trying
dead
to.
narrative.
If anything, I was even trying to give him prop by saying that he wasn't pushed the same way Klopp is pushing him. The way Klopp is pushing Pep. It's just like saying like
he went
didn't
up
have
against
to
a team
do-
that lost 2 games in the league and he still won the league. So obviously he's been pushed. I think that's a.
You know what?
in my
Let's go
opinion,
around the room. Let's go around the room. Titch, because you're the elder statesmen of the podcast right now. What's your opinion on the Pep versus Fergie debate?
You know, I've never had any thought on it until now. I don't think you can compare the two. But what I would say is, you know, Pep has proven that, you know, he's good at spending money, right? But in Ferguson's era, Man United would cherry pick all the players they want. You know, like people like Cantona, they had that pulling power. So they've both had a little helping hand to stay at the top. You understand? So I don't think you can compare the two. But going back to what Ori said, if in, you know, the next 20 years, would Pep match the titles, then I believe he would do. But you can't compare the two. You can't. If you're talking about just Premier League, then it's hard to, you know, pinpoint that. Alex Ferguson worked wonders in Scotland, and then he'd worked wonders in the Premier League. Pep Guardiola worked wonders at Barcelona, but, you know, he's failed to replicate that in Europe with these other teams. And, you know, he was part of Barcelona's DNA. So that kind of was a little bit easier for him because, you know, he knew the club inside out. Once he's gone elsewhere now, he hasn't managed to achieve that. So in response to your question, if I was to pick the best Premier League manager out of the two of them, if I had to, I would have to say Alex Ferguson. I have to.
You know, I have to look at that because Denzel, you raise an interesting point. See, there's two sides that you can look at it because Denzel said between 2007 to 2011, Fergie did exactly the same thing during that period, isn't it?
Yeah.
He won 4 out of 5. You know, another key thing is that Fergie won the Champions League.
Champions League, yeah.
In a more difficult period.
And he got to a final as well, or 2 more finals.
Pep slapped his ass twice in that period, but still.
But I mean, 3
2 or 3
Champions League finals.
I personally, that's what I'm saying. I personally thought the debate was, if it's a bigger debate, then we can move into more context. But I thought the debate was in the Premier League, and I'm saying that everyone, the popular debate I'm always seeing for why Ferguson is a better Premier League manager is everybody always either says 13 league titles, which to me doesn't make sense because Pep hasn't been given the opportunity to actually win 13. So you can't use that.
When he does it, then we can argue it. Cool.
But then you're contradicting yourself. Oh, you know what? Never mind.
I'm not
And then the
contradicting
other argument that people always use as well is the Champions League.
Money and the money argument as well.
And the money
Even
argument.
though
Also.
that
The Champions League one, I don't. The Champions League one, I don't get because if we're talking about Premier League, then you know, remain in the Premier League. If you want to make it a general argument, then I can also go into that as well. So that's my disagreement for the 13 league titles. Incredible achievement, but using that in comparison to, I mean, if you do amount of time spent to amount of titles won, then, you know, it's the same way people compare saying Ronaldo is a better goal scorer when if you compare the games to the number of goals Messi has. So like, why don't we use like context when we talk about things like that? That's my own for the 13 league titles.
Can I make another comparison then? One thing that you have to give Fergie credit for is he knew how to rebuild a squad. He knew how to move players on when the time was right. And he also knew how to counter these young bucks that came into the game or new people. So, you know, Wenger was the first one who came with a whole new philosophy to football. And there was a big challenge there. Then it came Mourinho. So Ferguson actually, you know, he withstanded, you know, there was periods where other teams were winning the league. You know, Chelsea went through a period, Arsenal went through it, but yet he managed to come back again, rebuild and win it again. You understand what I'm saying to you? And then the final season, that squad shouldn't have won the Premier League that he had. And he won it with them. And
Scholes came out of retirement. Yeah.
And look what's happened since he left. So that shows you how much impact he had as a manager, because since then, no one has lived up to what he done. So he didn't just do it over one period with one, you know, we got Pep v Klopp. He had, you know, people coming in with whole new ideas, changing the way football is played. And he managed to work out a way, you know, whether it was a season or two later, to actually come out on top. So he had his battles. And so far, Pep Guardiola hasn't had any battles apart from the ongoing one with Klopp, which is, I won't say it's easy, but I say they're familiar with each other. So therefore, he hasn't had a new challenge yet. Do you understand? And Fergie...
But isn't that because no one else is good enough, though? Like, no one else is anywhere close to their level to pose any sort of a threat. Whereas Ferguson, I'm not saying that he was attainable, but them league points are nowhere near the level that Klopp and Pep are. So like someone like a Wenger, Mourinho, just having a good season would constitute a very decent title challenge. Like anywhere in the 75 to early 80 points, that's a good title challenge for them sort of seasons. Whereas 75 to 80 points, you're nowhere close to Liverpool and City.
You struggle to get top four. Like Spurs finished on 71 points this season. And hypothetically, we're thinking Conte or Tuchel become those other two challengers or something, maybe next year. But the sample size is too small. So United, Ferguson had all those managers to deal with, the different rebuilds. He had the mainstays in his team, Neville, etc., Keane. He's had to rebuild maybe once in his first season when Pep came. He changed all his fullbacks, etc. He's made a few changes season on season. So the rebuilding one, I think that will continue regardless. To be honest,
the biggest kind of attribute that Pep had, and I think Ferguson, and I think Ferguson, it's fair to say he was a lot better at working with less talented players. Like the team that he inherited from Man United were 21st or something. Like they're a horrific team, and like given he was given a lot of money, he won the title in like 6 years, which considering they were like nearly a relegation team is very, very impressive. And I mean, like over the course of 25, 26 years, you're going to have to rebuild that team 3, 4, maybe even 5 times. So I think that's the fact that you can stay at the top is very, very impressive. And I don't doubt that Pep Guardiola could do that, but I doubt that he'd win the league with players like Welbeck and Cleverley and I don't know, like a 40-year-old Paul Scholes. And that's, I think, where Ferguson might have an edge.
You know, when I'm looking at it, because obviously we're talking about applying context. So in the 12-13 where they won the league, United, I remember the quality of the league that year was very, very poor. It was joke.
But the quality of the league was poor and Leicester won the league as well. And Pep not in the league that year.
Come on, man. Even the season, the Centurion season,
80 points.
The Centurion season, United finished second and we were trash that year, let's be honest. So, like, when we're talking about quality of the league, like, you
finished second with over 80 points though.
Yeah, but that wasn't an amazing United side, was it?
It wasn't.
Yeah, but still though.
No, but
you never
compared to
challenged
Ferguson season, anything over 80 points in a
the fact that a mid United side finished with over 80 points shows you the quality of the league, shows you that it was bad. So,
but I mean, like the next season, Spurs and Liverpool were in the Champions League final, no?
That wasn't Spurs at their peak though.
No, but it still shows that they are good enough to be like a threatening European side.
I'm not sure because we're talking about the points total, and I mentioned this in the group chat, and I was talking about how the money in English football wasn't at the level it is now. So the disparity between clubs in the 90s isn't as big as it is now in terms of the gap in quality wasn't.
The pool of money between
like
these
the
clubs
worst
is
teams
a
in
lot,
the league were better.
Yeah.
But if you're an all-time team, you should be beating Bolton and Fulham and these type of teams without any sort of concern.
But can't you say at the same time the reason why Man City are such an all-time team is because the way they can stockpile talent compared to the others. So they might be at an all-time great, and then the rest are at all-time low in a sense.
I don't know. Quickly.
No, but wouldn't you argue that the game now, and obviously maybe I am a bit biased, but wouldn't you argue that the game now is tactically at the highest level it has been?
100%.
Yeah, obviously because football evolves. That's just natural. Yeah.
Yeah. So wouldn't I mean, you see now teams like even Burnley. You see Burnley being able to deploy like proper deep blocks and stuff like that. Like a lot of teams, like like in the past, a lot of times most people were playing with. Well, no, I don't want to say vibes per se, but like right now, I feel like the tactical level, which like you see teams like Newcastle being so detailed in certain things, everybody's pressing the front line, everybody knows when to drop deep. And I think football right now is tactically at the highest level. And Pep is playing, in my opinion, in the best league at the highest level tactically and is dominating the league, using his tactics. And, Yeah, that's really just what I think. To be fair, that is personally why I would probably say he is the best for me. Like tactically, I don't think Ferguson compares to Pep.
I agree with that. But you also have to factor in tactics can only mitigate so much of a lack of quality.
Yeah, but in terms of player quality, though, in terms of this generation right now compared to other generations, the level of player quality at the top end, like the elite spectrum, is way worse. Way worse. Nowhere close to the level
and I've said
of the
this.
late 2000s, mid 2000s, early 2000s.
Can I make a point?
I feel like the quality of players, so the average quality of players has increased. So the average player that you find in an Aston Villa is of a higher level than it was 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah, but the top end. Like I think we were even saying, how many top strikers are there in the league? Aside from Harry Kane, how many top world-class strikers are there?
Well, now they've got Haaland coming in, so probably Kane and Haaland. That's maybe one.
That's two.
Arguably.
Don't say
Lukaku should be.
Seven.
Don't say
he's on the decline.
Wait, so Dan, what are you trying to say?
So we're talking about how tactically the level is at the highest.
Yeah.
So like, because the player level at the elite end isn't the same, I think that might be a reason why tactics are a lot more imposed on the game. Because like, for example, you'll see it with Paris Saint-Germain, because they have a lot of elite players, trying to impose like a very heavily structured tactical system is not really going to get the best out of them sort of players. So like Messi, for example, and Neymar, for example, trying to get them to play in a Liverpool system wouldn't get the best out of them.
True.
I don't know, if you try and compare that to a previous era, it'd be interesting to see how it would adapt.
It would adapt, yeah. Like, I think now you're seeing managers kind of prefer players who are more like they can fit into like their tactics. Who are more like tactically inclined. Yeah. I get that, to be fair. Which is why when Klopp was like had the midfield of was it Ronaldo, Henderson, and this thing, like when you look at that on paper, that looked like a very dodgy midfield. Yeah, and he was winning I personally liked it as well, like in terms like tactically, but he was winning the Champions League with midfielders like that. Yeah, I would say so. And obviously when you like compare those to like the midfielders who used to win Champions League like back in the days, like Seedorf and like Pirlo and players like that, like, you know, quality wise you kind of see the disparity. So I get that, to be fair. The game is kind of like changed in terms of like tactics and stuff like that, but yeah.
Sarah, we didn't really hear what you wanted to say. What are you gonna say?
I don't know. The quality's changed, but I don't know. I still think if we gave Pep a few more years, then this argument would be a bit more valid, to be honest. I do think that Ferguson does have the rebuilding. He did rebuild and kept that spine of that team relatively the same, but then just, you know, used the experience of the Keanes, etc., to just drive through. So it's a bit unfortunate for Pep at the moment. But his system, so Haaland's coming in so he can play a different system or another system. So he's evolving his own tactics and own style of play, like he did a few years ago with Lewandowski when he was at Bayern Munich. So there is that evolution happening now. So yeah, I think it's more of a tactical affair, I think, right now.
I feel like what Sarah's saying, I think when Pep leaves, this will be a much bigger, more conclusive argument. You know,
there's no way Pep's going to stay for that long. So then, it's not going to happen, is it? Neither is Klopp. So,
it's actually very funny as well that when we are also going to keep on having this Premier League talk, is that like Klopp is not really going to always be mentioned as much. And the reason that,
but he would have won 3 Premier League titles.
And the reason that is because of Pep. And the reason that is because of Pep. Because
I think if he wins the Champions League this year, he will be entered in that conversation. And I think he deserves to.
He does,
because he's built one of the great.
He has built one of the great. Yeah, definitely.
Over the course of 5 years, they've got like 3 Champions League final appearances.
And if anything, in terms of rebuilding, Liverpool have done more, like a lot of rebuilding in the 7 years that he's been there. The team
100%. I mean, the team
is so much. They changed 100%. Their complete starting 11s, and their attacks now obviously been changed up. So
they even play differently as well.
Yeah. So
the Liverpool when he first got there is different to Liverpool now. I
Yeah.
think now they're a lot more inclined to work through the centre, whereas previously it was a lot more wing play and kind of attacking transition.
Yeah.
So there is that tactical evolution which is happening right now between those two. So yeah, we'll see what happens.
Let me just ask one
Interesting
thing.
debate. Yeah.
Let me ask one question in regards to the Pep v Ferguson, which I just thought of. And this is I can't see everybody in it. I think there's 6 of us. West Ham haven't got a technical squad. We haven't got the best squad, and David Moyes has done well. This is a very simple question that might be able to answer the initial question. In this day and age, with West Ham's squad, who would finish higher? Alex Ferguson with those players or Pep Guardiola? And then maybe that would give you your decisive answer as to who is the better. So who would do better with West Ham squad, Pep or Alex Ferguson?
We all know.
All I'm saying is Pep is going to love Ben Rama for Fornals.
Pep love Dawson at the back playing out.
Right, I'm gonna be honestly say I think Ferguson would do better because he's working with not a great quality, but I think he would get the best out of them. And Pep, we haven't seen Pep working with a mediocre squad, so I'm going to say Ferguson.
Cresswell working as inverted fullback. They actually work. I think Cresswell is an inverted fullback in Pep's system.
Oh my
so
God.
I'm saying Alex Ferguson would do a better job with West Ham squad than Pep.
He would, I think Pep would do a better job with Ferguson's 08 United team than Ferguson did. I think Pep.
Very good.
You think
in terms of
you think he would win the Champions League?
I think Pep has
I've got a quick question. So this current Man City side, do you think this side is better than that United side?
But the Centurions are. But the Centurions.
Okay, good. So the Centurions, man for man, are better than the 07-08 side that won the Champions League, right?
Not man for man, but as a team, they're better.
As a team, yeah. Okay.
All right. Another question, yeah. Would Alex Ferguson, right? Man City had 2 feet and 1 arm in the Champions League final against Real. Would Alex Ferguson let that game slip?
Maybe not, but
he wouldn't. He would not.
What I was gonna ask you though, is if you said so you said the Centurions were a better team than that United side
in the Premier League, yeah.
And you think that with a worse side, Guardiola would win the Champions League?
But this is
he just meant he'll perform better in the league.
Oh, so you're disregarding UCL completely?
Yeah, that's what we're talking about Premier League, no? But even if we're talking about UCL, that Ferguson team of 09, 2010, 2011 got their ass whooped by Guardiola.
Okay, but we won you're talking about the 08 team in which we won the Champions League.
Yeah,
and
but that
in
team,
final against the Chelsea
1 year
side.
later,
so
1 year, 2 years later, that's still the same team.
I don't think Guardiola would have done better. What do you mean by would have done better with that side? How so?
That side would have been way more dominant in the league, because let's not forget that side was 1 point above Chelsea and 2 above Arsenal.
But it was the Chelsea side that were the second best team in Europe that year.
Those were to the final.
Exactly. Chelsea got to the final of the UCL.
Neither of them sides are all-time sides.
Bro, they probably were.
Oh, Chelsea literally got to UCL final and won FA Cup. They stopped the treble. That Chelsea side was good. Very good.
That Arsenal team never won a trophy. And that Chelsea team,
and I'm pretty sure.
Okay, it made the
Chelsea team final. Was it even a year afterwards? They should have beat Barcelona, but got down by a dodgy decision. Yeah. So that was a very good Chelsea side.
That's a totally different debate. But
you're saying that 1 point above that Chelsea side. That Chelsea side was a world-class side.
But 2 points above, or 2 or 3 points above that Arsenal side that wasn't an all-time team.
I mean, Arsenal fans said if Eduardo didn't get injured, you might would have won the league, innit? So,
and that says more about the other teams in the league than that Arsenal team, because that Arsenal team was not an all-time team.
Apparently, you man played the best football in the league.
FC.
That's all subjective though. Like
that's a good segue.
Playing the best football doesn't really mean anything if you're not winning.
It's a good segue to the top 4 race.
Oh yeah,
because we spent a lot of time on this debate.
Yeah, we have.
I always have final word.
People keep forgetting, but in Pep Centurions, he had Delph and Otamendi as regular starters. He was using Delph as an inverted fullback, Fabian Delph as an inverted fullback consistently, and Otamendi was a key centre back. In a season, he won 100 Premier League points. That's all I just have to say. Otamendi.
Congratulations to the board guy. Well done to the board guy.
Great. All right,
To the board guy.
Why did Arsenal come top 5? Tell me. Let's move on.
Let's move on to.
Let's talk about. In fact, let's give Spurs their flowers first. Let's clap for Spurs, guys.
Am
Ain't no one clapping for Spurs, man. Get them bums out.
I allowed to swear on the podcast?
Yeah. You might as well
Fuck Spurs.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get into it. Before the season started, I think like a lot of people did not predict us to be anywhere where we were, but actually I did. I said we were going to finish in the top 4. I said we'd finish 4th. A lot of people said I was very, very, very confident. Maybe I was, but I really believed in Arteta, and I really believed that he knew what he was doing. And I backed him. Disappointed? No, but I'll just say I really have mixed feelings because, disappointed, yes. Like completely angry. I'll say no. Because as sad as it is that we didn't actually clinch the top 4, but it's very obvious to see that the progress that we've still made. And, I'll just be very, blind not to acknowledge that. We finished, 2 points off the top 4?
2 points.
Yeah, and I think it's just really fine margins, really, really fine margins. We improved in all aspects, in all areas. A lot of the signings that a lot of people complained about, one of them myself included, which was the Ramsdale one, ended up actually being, good signings. He changed the whole squad, like tactically. We actually started playing better. We were in top 4 for like a really long time as well. I'll just say just the mentality, and we just kind of collapsed towards the end. And I think one thing I always said, I said this about Arsenal even when we're like early in the season. I said that once Arsenal actually start playing good, we lack like self awareness. It's like we're afraid of being good. It's like, we're good now.
It's pressure.
It's like, we're good now. Now we're not meant to be here. Oh my goodness, like we're fourth. We're not like, and it just kind of gets into our head. And and even not even just the players, even our fans as well. We have that mentality as well, where like everyone is like, it's not. We're not even meant to come fourth anyway. So like, let's be happy with. Like, it's just not really a good. It's just not really a good sign like from the club. Like, be angry. You're allowed to be upset and very angry at the club for not clinching the 4. Don't be like but so just mentality wise, we have a big summer coming up. We definitely need to improve the squad. I think there are very clear holes where we need to upgrade on. The first one obviously being the striker, that everybody kind of knows that we're kind of going to go for that. We need a new striker, definitely. Lack of goals is something that stunted us in the incoming top 4. And then we just go again. I know it's really disheartening, but we just have to go again. But next season, so we finished with 69 points. It's about improving as well. 69 points would guarantee you top 4 in a lot of other seasons. That being said, but obviously we can't cry over spilled milk. We just have to keep on going. Next season we have to improve by at least, I would say 10, 11 points. So we should be finishing with 79 or 80 points next season. I would have to say that, because when you add a striker to that, a striker should give you an extra 6 points. Quality in other positions. Depth. The depth was another thing. I didn't even talk about that. Depth was another thing that really cost us as well. Tierney and Partey, getting injured.
Tomiyasu, bro. This guy was out for the season.
Tomiyasu, a lot of our fans want us to sell him now because he's just been getting injured so much. Partey, I don't know. I think he just came to London for vibes. I don't think he really came here to be a serious footballer, because Partey is so fun, because when Partey started the season poorly, he then picked up was having a really good season, was leading us into top four. Then he got injured. And that's basically the story of Partey's career in Arsenal. And it's just really annoying. Tierney as well, injury as well, the season before as well. Yeah, it's just not a really good sign. But yeah, we definitely need better squad depth, more signings, quality in the squad. Yeah, and just improve. I'm honestly not really looking at the Europa League. It would be nice. Is my priority, and people are saying, "Oh, we need to try and winning the Europa is even another way we can get to CL." We should definitely not be looking at that. If we're looking at the Europa to get into CL, then we're still like 5 steps behind. So to me, definitely top 4 finish, definitely top 4 finish, or even top 3. But we should be looking at definitely finishing in the top 4. Getting 79, 80 points to me should definitely guarantee top 4 and probably most likely top 3. And yeah, we just keep on building from there. Really, really disheartening that we didn't make the top 4, but it is what it is. We move on from that and just build.
I can see Denzel just smiling at the corner. Dan, what's your season overview looking back? What are the key things that you picked up on?
I think simply we bottled it. Like, I don't think there's any other way to put it. We bottled it. It was in our hands. We had, and it wasn't just one opportunity. We had 2 or 3 opportunities. After we lost 3 in a row to Brighton, Palace, and Southampton, that should have been the opportunity gone. But we were gifted another opportunity when Spurs drew and lost. And even after we got battered by Spurs, it was still in our hands. And we went away to Newcastle and bottled it. And I mean, like, you can't really be happy with that, because how can you, I don't know, like, I don't like this. Ore said it as well, and like, I agree with him. I don't like this narrative of, oh, we weren't even supposed to be there, so we can't be disappointed. Like, these same Arsenal fans that are running this narrative are the ones that were saying Leicester are bottle jobs last year for not getting Champions League when the exact same situation happened. And like, I don't like that hypocrisy. I think you need to hold your club to a higher standard. And like, Arteta's in his 2.5 season now, saying that we shouldn't be near top 4 is pretty damning of how bad you think we are. So yeah, I'm not happy with how it went. There's definitely positives that we can take. Like, without a doubt, there's positives we can take. I think for large portions of the season, we played very well. Like Ori said, the progression we made is quite evident and quite clear. And I think there's things that we can build on and build around. But the fact that we bottled it is quite concerning for me, especially given the performance in some of these losses. Like, I think Ori said it as well, and I agree. I think next season, top 4, if we don't comfortably get top 4, and Ori said he doesn't really care about Europa League, but for me, I think we should be making the semi-final minimum, but final of the Europa League and getting top 4. Anything bar that, and I would put serious question marks about Mikel Arteta, because at this point, he's going to have 2 big windows, 3.5 years in the job. This is your team at this point. So, I mean, we'll see about that.
Yeah, I think, sorry, just to add, yeah, I think I have been a bit like lenient with Arteta. Not really, because I did put a lot of like expectations on him this season, but this upcoming one, I think, is really the make or break. Like, it's very obvious to see now, and you know, he should definitely be finishing in the top 4 this season. Even probably throwing a domestic trophy in there as well. Wouldn't mind a cheeky FA Cup or Carol Bobbins Cup. Then Europe, yeah, probably making semi-finals or the finals as well. But yeah, I feel we should definitely be, the top 4 is definitely the most important one. We need to get back into Champions League. It's just been too long. Yeah.
Right. I think, to be fair, the one thing I would say is, if we look at some of the aspects of the squad, like, people will look at where Arteta has taken us and say, like, oh, these players aren't that bad. Like, oh, Lacazette isn't that bad, or whatever, such and such isn't that bad. But if you look at Lacazette now, genuinely, he's the worst starting striker in the league. And Ketia, there's not a striker worse than Lacazette in the league. Not one. Even if we look at Norwich, Timo Pukki has like 11, 12 goals. He's better than Lacazette. Emmanuel Dennis is way better than Lacazette.
Pukki is way better than Lacazette.
Lacazette is by far the worst striker in the league.
Yeah, I can probably comfortably say that as well.
And Eddie Nketiah isn't far off that either. He's probably bottom 3, bottom 4 starting strikers in the league. So I think that hindered us a hell of a lot. I think we'll see because obviously Gabriel Jesus is the big target. But I think once Arsenal get a starting striker, we'll see what the real level of this team is, and I think it'd be better to judge on where we think this team can go next season.
Fair enough. Titch, from an
Yo.
outsider's perspective, what's your opinions been of Arsenal this season?
Right. So, I spoke to you and Daniel initially off camera, and I was confident because of the position Arsenal was in. I was confident that they were going to get top 4. Obviously, they bottled it, completely bottled it. Now, I'm surprised at Daniel and what's the other guy's name? Sorry.
Ore.
I'm surprised in your confidence for next season. The reason why is because Antonio Conte has had one transfer window, and Tottenham will be better next season. Chelsea will be better next season. Man United.
I don't think Chelsea will be better. Chelsea are on a downward slope, in my opinion. They're losing Rudiger, they're losing Christensen. Thiago Silva's not getting any younger. Their attack and midfield is a shambles, and their defense is not great right now.
I believe Chelsea will have a better season than this season. Man United have had their worst Premier League season, and they're only, they're in the same competition and one place behind Arsenal. And now Mikel Arteta had no European commitments this season. And like you said, they bottled it. Like Arsenal bottled it. So I don't know how next year, where he's got to compete on Europe, a European front.
No, just to cut you, I think the no European competition is a bit overstated, because we played like 4 less games than Man United.
Do you know why?
About one or two less than Spurs.
All right.
Like,
I would disagree with that is because European football has hindered West Ham this season.
West Ham, but not United or Spurs.
What's that?
Not United or Spurs, though.
Yeah, but Spurs were in the Conference League and they weren't in it very long. Do you understand? So I just think that.
But they were competing with us, though. They were competing with us in the for the top 4 race. And you don't think next year, with harder competition in the Champions League, that they're going to find it tougher?
You know what? I said this at the time. If Arsenal don't get top 4 this season, then they've missed the trick, because everything was there for them. So the fact that people wasn't expecting it, they was in that position, you understand, and they've thrown it away. Now, if you can't handle the pressure of finishing 4th, how is Arsenal ever going to get back to being a team that's competing for trophies if 4th is that much of a pressure cooker for you? Do you understand? So I'm surprised that both of you're optimistic that you will get top. Yeah, I'm surprised, like genuinely surprised, because I can't see Arsenal getting into the top 4 next season. And yeah, I'm surprised that both of you are sort of confident that that's where you will finish.
I think part of it is, Spurs and Arsenal are at 2 very different stages right now. Spurs are in win now mode. They have to win now, because Kane and Son are not getting any younger. Kane is 29, Son is 30. They're not going to be, in 5 years' time, they're not going to be scoring 20 goals a season. And Spurs don't have really many young players to win them games. But I think that was the difference really between Spurs and Arsenal. The fact that Spurs could win a game they weren't playing well because Son could score a goal that realistically no one else in the league, apart from maybe Salah, will score. Or Kane could score a goal that not many players could score. Arsenal don't have that level of quality with their strikers especially to do that. And I think like the pressure is a very, very good point, but I think it's part of it is the fact that the team is very, very young. And I mean, Spurs team is 29. Well, their better players are 29 and 30. So this is the peak of their career. Really, they should be getting in the top 4. The fact that they're battling for top 4 with the young Arsenal team is quite indicative of how poor they were.
Interesting. Sarah, what about you?
I personally, yeah.
No, yeah, I would be. I think you guys did bottle it. I had you as my favourites. After that, in the Newcastle game, you were shocking, to be honest, and that really summed it up. I wouldn't be surprised if next year Conte, with one transfer window, that's all he needs to play well enough. Like, let's be honest, since Conte's come in, have Spurs really been that good? Not really, but they've still got the results.
Is that not due to saying Kane and Son, though?
Yeah, that is partly due to it.
So you don't think if Arteta gets a Kane and Son, Arsenal will be better?
But if Conte gets like,
bro, if we had a Kane and Son, Just
Yeah, if
imagine.
you had a
it.
Kane
Be
and Son,
erased.
yeah,
Maybe, man. Like, come on.
maybe.
Like, Santos, Numer Espirito, whatever his name is, before he had Kane and Son, he wasn't doing what Conte was doing. You have to
Exactly.
give some credit to Conte.
Exactly.
But
And
they weren't as bad as people make out though. I think they were like three or 4 points behind Arsenal. So if
Yeah, it's only
Conte
because they
was
lost
this
like 3
much
games in a
better,
row.
if Conte was this much better than Arteta, it wouldn't even be a race.
Mourinho had Kane and Son, and he didn't do what Conte did. You have to give some credit to Conte. Like,
and look
he's
at
done well.
Conte. Conte
But like I
had
say, if he was this much better than Arteta, it wouldn't even be a race.
Why are we this close to
But
Spurs
no,
when they have Kane and
he
Son?
picked
That's
up the
the
Spurs
question.
team like halfway through the season.
Wait.
The Spurs team that was like
at a time,
the Spurs
one
team that was like
at a time.
4 points behind Arsenal. They weren't astronomically far behind.
Yeah. After that, so Titch, Denzel, then Ore.
all I'm saying is this. I don't know how many windows Arteta's had, right? But Conte's had one window. He brought in Bentancur and Kulusevski. Kulusevski is 21 years old and he's hit the ground running. If Conte, with his connections in the transfer in the summer window, brings in 4 of his players, right? Because this is more Arteta team at Arsenal than it is a Conte team at Spurs. So he hasn't stamped his authority on that yet, and he still managed to get them 4th. So there's more to come from Spurs under Conte. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So even at limited resources, he still managed to finish 4th. So what do you think he's going to do? Remember, this is a guy, first season at Chelsea, he won the league. He went back to Italy, first season there, he won it with Inter. So, this guy knows how to get results.
It's limited resources, but it's still, I think people are trying to downplay how good the Spurs team is. Kane and Son are 2 of the best players in the league. Romero is one of the best defenders in the league.
Do you know
How many of
something I'll
Arsenal's
just add?
realistically, how many of Arsenal's players are one of the best in the league?
I'll be honest with this Spurs debate. You can have the players on paper, but we saw it with United. You can have all the great players. It doesn't mean that you're gonna get results. Like, we had CR7, Sancho, all these players in our team. We did crap. So
Exactly.
at the end of the day, you have to give Conte his
Your
credit.
manager,
You can have the
United
resources.
to Spurs, though.
And your manager is the main part of a team. And Conte's mentality means that he will win games that maybe he shouldn't win. You understand what I'm saying to you? And Arteta is still cutting.
What I'm just saying is, do you think 79 points would guarantee someone top 4
next season?
Yeah,
it should do, definitely.
Yeah.
79 or 80 points. Do you think that guarantees you top 4?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So one thing I always say about football, especially with like building your team and growing your team, is that like you don't always need to watch other teams. Like, you don't always need to watch other teams. What you genuinely need to do is focus on yourself and build. If you keep on watching, bro, what's this guy doing? What's this team doing? It's only just going to keep on setting you back. When Liverpool go into, they're not always just trying to see, like, City just got Haaland as a player, and Liverpool are not going to be like, City just got Haaland. That means that, we're probably not going to win the league next season. There's nothing stopping from Liverpool from still going for the league next season. I just personally think you need to just kind of like focus on yourself and grow as a team. If we say this next season we want to get 10 more points, we can definitely get 10 more points. And it's not an issue where like it depends on like other teams and stuff like that. I think you just focus on yourself, build on your own, and this particular season, a lot of people didn't expect us to be where we were, and we just kind of did our own thing, and we just kind of got the points as they went by. A lot of people said United were meant to win the league this season. What happened? Like, Chelsea were also meant to be title contenders. What happened? So you can never be definite of a season. Who's stopping Liverpool? What if Liverpool finish outside the top 4 next season? How do we know? What if Van Dijk got injured last season? They were in the top 4 race. Things could happen. Football isn't a definite sport. You just go and you just build. Yeah.
Let me ask a question real quick. Arsenal performed a lot better than people thought they would. Is that due to the fact that Arteta is a better manager than people thought, or are the players a lot better than people are giving credit for? Because if we're just judging off players, which is what everyone did at the start of the season, some people had Arsenal in 10th.
Oh,
exactly.
Can I answer that?
Answer that. Yeah.
Arteta's done very, very well. I won't argue with that. So it's Arteta's done. He's done well as a manager. I can't lie. But at the same time, it's just getting over that hump. This whole overachieving narrative thing with that, I'm not really buying into it. I get you're building towards something, but realistically, this year he should have he deserves his praise, but he deserves his criticism as well.
No, I'm not discounting the fact we absolutely bottled it. We bottled it multiple times. But my point is that the team he's working with, either them players are a lot better than people think, or he's done a lot better job than people are giving him credit for.
Giving him credit for.
Yeah.
If he did
So it's kind of like
he would have got top four.
It's kind of like you can't have your cake and eat it, basically.
It
swings around
Before the season started, people were saying Ramsdale was a relegation level keeper.
Yeah.
Worst signing,
Ben White would never be a top quality.
Saka's a left back who's worse than
Saka's
we can clap for him. He got the best out of the players, but they didn't achieve what they wanted to.
So do you not think he would get don't you think he will get more out of better players?
Yeah, like Saka's 20, Smith Rowe's first full season, Odegaard's first full season.
That's
obviously
Ramsdale,
Ramsdale,
another player who also
at the end of the day
doubted.
He didn't get over the line. Like, okay, we can give him credit for he's a good manager. He's a good manager.
Okay, so I know football isn't a definite sport, but on paper, logically, do you not think he would do better with better players?
And but I think to round up, I think that's our point. Like next season,
that's literally next season we get better players. Exactly. There's no doubt we're going to get better players because anybody's better than Lacazette and Nketiah. No offense to them, but no doubt we get better.
I'll be honest. This is the slight.
I think these same players put you lot in a position that you should have qualified for the Champions League. So now these same players, they're not good enough. Do you understand?
But them players had no business being in that position, though. It's because Arteta's got the best of worst players.
I don't buy it.
Just the worst striker in the league.
Wait, because we're gonna move on in it because we're gonna be on this. But I just want to say something, and I hate this a lot, especially with like individual quality players. And it's always about is it the team or is it just these two? Why don't we ever think there's a structure behind those guys, and then you let the top players do their thing? Because it was the same thing I used to hear about Tuchel, where at PSG people say, it's just Neymar, Mbappe, and Di Maria. But if I have players of that quality, that's what they should be doing. My job as a manager should be to create a structure that relieves the players of the defensive responsibility as much as I can, and let players of such high individual ability almost win the game by themselves. I don't think that's a criminal. I feel like, especially with nowadays with how people like to look at tactics and understand things, sometimes it's just a thing of, if I have better players, let them just do their thing. And that's what you saw with Son. Son is one of the best finishers in the world. Like, this guy can score from anywhere. Kane is one of the most, he's probably, after Benzema, he's probably the most complete striker in the world. Like, once you have players of that quality, I don't think there's a bad thing where you're allowing them to score you goals out of nothing.
That's not the point, though. Like, what I mean is that when I was making that point, is that surely as a team and it for a manager, it's, I don't want to say easier, but you'd much rather have players like Son and Kane who can do that and may not fit into a system than players like Lacazette and Nketiah who may fit into a system but is not. Lacazette didn't get 5 goals this year.
So I think what Dan is saying that you guys are kind of misunderstanding is that you thought he was kind of like criticizing Conte, but
yeah,
he's essentially just saying that, like, okay, Conte is doing his thing with Son and Kane, brilliant, but then we are in a position to also get players similar to them or players who can play as good someday as Son and Kane, and we can also do that. That's essentially what Dan was just saying, in my opinion. But yeah, we'll see next season.
Let's quickly touch upon the relegation. I don't really care. Who wants to talk about these, man? I don't really have any vested interest in any of these guys, innit? I'm not.
Well,
I think there should be a ban based on how many times you can get relegated and come back.
Norwich will be back again next year.
Come back into the league. It's becoming embarrassing now, 100%. Like, relegated, promoted, relegated.
Fulham are the same as well.
Yeah, Fulham are the same as well.
Parachute payments they're getting.
I'm excited to see one of Huddersfield or
Nottingham Forest.
Nottingham Forest, yeah. I think both of them haven't been in for a while.
No, Huddersfield were here.
Huddersfield were in a while. Yeah, they were there.
I think they got relegated.
I want Nottingham
same
Forest to come
season
back.
the year after.
Yeah, 2 years ago.
I want Forest.
2
Same
years
boys.
Huddersfield.
Yeah.
Huddersfield haven't been in for.
Yeah,
No,
no,
2 or
they
3
were in
years.
the season Mourinho when it was at
It was
Man United. I
wasn't
think
it
Yeah.
Wenger's
they were in
last
the league.
season?
I remember
I think
that.
Oh yeah, it was
2018.
last season. Yeah, I think it was.
And we played them on the
16,
last day.
17. I think it was
Yeah,
16,
why-
17.
Aaron Moy in that guy.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah, I do remember now. I do remember. Yeah. Yeah, Burnley. I think Burnley. Yeah.
I think Burnley.
It's about time. Yeah.
Yeah, they're not
it's about
coming back
time.
up.
They're not coming
Sean
back up.
Dyche
All
was-
their
Yeah,
players
they'll
are out
come
of
back up,
contract.
Yeah.
But Sean Dyche was working wonders anyway. Even
Yeah.
if they weren't out of contract, I think. they
I
would
hope he
come.
gets a good job. I think he should replace
Fat Frank.
Lampard at Everton.
Lampard. Yeah, that's good.
Hold on. Can I just cut you two? So what you've just done is contradicting yourself. You've acknowledged that Burnley maintained their Premier League status because of their manager.
Yeah.
Right. And I said to you, Conte ultimately will win you more points than Arteta. Do you understand? So we've acknowledged that the manager plays a key role. And once they got rid of that manager, Burnley finally went down. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? So this is what I'm trying to say. Arteta v Conte, Conte's always going to come out on top.
I don't understand. Explain.
Bro, no, let's leave it, man. I don't want to hear about
No. You know what? I'll be honest. I like this debate.
Man.
Let's be honest. I like this. I think I can't lie. With the Burnley thing, even with Titch, they're already gone down. So that's a bit of a techie argument.
That's an open debate. That's an open debate. That's an open debate.
Yeah.
Look, we'll see what you man do, and we'll see who you bring in. The transfer window will be interesting. We'll be there to commentate on it. Don't worry. So, yeah, we'll
Sarah, what do you think about Arsenal?
Huh?
What do you think about Arsenal? Yeah, you didn't give your take.
They should have got it. They should have got top 4. It
Oh,
was
you
in their
did, you
hands.
did.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do you guys think Arsenal had a good season? Just say, let's wrap up Arsenal then.
I predicted you guys to finish 6th. So, yeah.
I don't think they had a good season.
They did well. It's just that
They had a good season.
I just don't
Because the aim was top 4 and they didn't get top 4, so it wasn't a good season. You can say they played good football, but the end result, it wasn't a good season.
But none of
But
us
Denzel,
said it was a good
I can't
season.
lie, you're talking a lot, bro. You did not expect us to take anywhere near. No, I'm not having this. I'm not having this, man. I'm allowed to say we didn't have a good season. I'm allowed to say we didn't have a good season. I'm allowed to say. Even Dan's allowed to say
You didn't get top 4.
You are not allowed to. Some of you are not allowed to say.
Yeah, like a team that has 0 GD at the end.
In fact,
Very,
okay,
very
didn't have a good season
In
either.
fact,
We're in the same competition. We're
Denzel,
both in Europa League.
Zero
you should be
GD is
embarrassed.
very, very
You
shameless.
should embarrass for 2 reasons.
We're both in Europa League. You didn't read your
Zero
target.
GD
You
is
didn't read
well.
your target.
All right. Okay.
See you in
You should
Europa.
embarrass for
See
2
you on
reasons.
Thursday night.
You
See you
didn't
on
expect
Thursday
us to be anywhere near top 4.
Yeah, considering 21 is coming and you're
Listen,
playing.
I don't
in
like this
sixth.
overachieving.
Wow.
In all seriousness, though. Okay, in all seriousness.
No,
you were
that's
a
what
good
I'm saying.
footballing
I
side,
said,
But neither of
you
us have
didn't
said
reach
this.
what you wanted to reach. So how
But
can it be
neither
a
of
good
us,
season?
neither of us have said
I'm saying you are in no position to say Denzel.
Bro.
Basically,
Because
yeah.
I have eyes and I
Yeah.
can see the league table.
Hey,
and get top 4.
man, let's move from that. You know what? Because we got 2 West Ham representatives on, the most that we've ever had.
No, please, no.
Let's talk about you, man. Let's actually talk about you, man. What's it? Semi-finals in Europa League. 7th in the league. What are you rating that season out of 10? Sarah, what are you rating that season out of 10?
I'm giving it an 8. I thought we'd struggle this season. With our squad is thin, like to say the least. We've massively overperformed in Europe. We've done incredibly well, but it hindered some of our league performances. We picked up injuries at inconvenient times, I think. Antonio going on that massive 5-month barren run of no goals. He scored a banger yesterday, but I think we didn't sign anyone in January. Like it's sort of like what could have been. But do you know what? Like in terms of consistency and just trying to, again, just talking about building, just staying little by little, I'll take this season 100%. Unbelievable season. 9 points less than last season. That is still an incredible achievement. I think we won, like 3 less games, but we were in the mix for until like maybe I think end of February for a potential top 4. was never going to happen. But you know, it was optimistic. The style of play has evolved as well. We're controlling games a lot more, which I'm really happy about. We seem to be able to. Well, I think the transitions have helped. I think, you know, we've performed really well. Declan Rice holding it down. Souček's had a bit of a down season, but you know, other players have stepped up. And Noble, yeah, what a guy, what a geezer, and all the best to him.
I need to ask you a question. No disrespect to Mark Noble, innit? But is he actually that much of a legend? Like, you man rate him that highly?
Like,
not as in his footballing ability, but
for what he's done,
his impact on
one club. You know, in this day and age, I don't think we're going to see any more people stay at one club for, you know, the amount of time he was there. So in that regard, he's a legend. Not as for his footballing ability, but for his longevity and loyalty to one club, then he's definitely a legend.
Yeah.
100%.
And people say like he was shit. He wasn't like dog. Like he should have gone, my opinion, he should have gone to Euro 2016. Like, yeah, he had a very good season that year. And people like Eric Dyer were getting picked. Bugger off.
No disrespect to him. Like I've always looked at him as like a decent Prem player. You know, he's decent on the ball.
Yeah, he's a perfectly good Premier League player. He's a Premier League quality player. Like, and that's good enough, I suppose. He wasn't good enough this season, but he was never going to play that many games anyway. So,
yeah, true.
It's a shame players like Crowd didn't get a look in and things like that. I think Cresswell played a bit too many games, and that caused him to be a bit rash at times. And obviously, striker situation's poor, a bit like Arsenal. But obviously, Bowen, what a season! Like, my opinion, the best English winger at the moment. You guys are going to disagree with me, but I think he's been on fire. It's a shame the World Cup's not in the summer, because then he'd be probably a very high chance that he gets into the squad. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, he could if he starts next season on a high, he probably gets into maybe.
Yeah,
I think even if he doesn't do too well next season, he should be going anyway.
Yeah, he should be. Yeah, he should be going.
He's definitely better than some of the guys that previously went.
Let me ask Tich, how have you found the season?
Like I said, you know, I'm always going to acknowledge what a manager does. I think David Moyes has squeezed every little bit of something out of the squad. Our team basically picked itself week in, week out. And in this day and age, that shouldn't be the case. Souček and Rice play every minute of every game. Now, if you compare teams like Leicester and that, Leicester, if everybody's fit, they've got a quality squad. Their bench is, you know, they've got options. West Ham had no options. So the fact that we got to the semi-final, the fact that we finished 7th is testament to the manager, because, like our squad shouldn't really be where we are, especially competing in Europe. Next season, I think it's going to be a struggle for us. But I think we've had a really good season. I thought we would finish lower. Once we got Europa last season, I thought, you know what? And once I saw the lack of activity in the transfer, and realistically, we brought in Areola, who was a cup goalie. Crowd didn't do anything. Who else did we bring in? Zuma was a fantastic signing.
Yeah, but he got injured for like.
So really, you know, Zuma and Areola, that was it. So January, when we should have, you know, at least got in some loan signings, we didn't. So the fact that we finished 7th and got to the semi-final, it was a really, really good season considering everything. So yeah, you know, I'm satisfied with this season, because I thought that we would finish lower than we did. So, but next season we ain't going to be up there. I know that for a fact. But yeah, it was a good season overall.
Before we move on to players, is there any other teams you want to mention? Or any special shout outs that I want to give out to any teams? Or
I just want to say that United are very embarrassing.
And
bring on the last day, they still ended up losing to Palace. And West Ham, I really did think West Ham had the opportunity to clinch that 6th place. Obviously,
that would have made it a 9 out of 10 season. If they'd have got Europa League,
that would have been the craziest heist of all time. Like they would have just sneaked the top 6 from under United's nose. But I think that just capped up an awful season for United. But I think the new manager that is coming in, I think obviously with this league, you can never really tell. There are people who have looked good who never turn out to be. The people who have looked bad that turn out to be better. He seemed like a good manager. I just feel like they probably should just give him a bit more like control. I think that's kind of been the problem with United. They've tried to kind of like handle things like board level and not really break it down with the manager as much. We saw it with like all their past managers as well. So yeah, I think they probably would give him a bit more leniency, maybe time as well. But another thing I've also noticed is that the top 6 is the big 6. And I think for the first time in a while, it might actually remain like that for a bit. Yeah, I think this is probably like since like, you know, for a bit where everyone is kind of like the big 6 are kind of like, I mean, the top 5 were really good this season. Then I feel like United also probably improved. I feel like United also.
Shots, right?
I feel like United also improved next season. So I think for a while the top 6 would be the big 6, so to say.
All right.
We might get a surprise.
All right.
From like
and Denzel, you look clearly go at it. Yeah, I'm gonna ask you a serious question, right?
Yeah.
Who finishes higher next season, Man United or Arsenal? That's for you and Denzel.
I'll give my answer. Yeah, it should be them, considering they have a brilliant, amazing manager and overachieved this year, and the only way is up for them. We're just starting our rebuild process, so really and truly, it should be Arsenal.
I thought your title winners.
Unfortunately,
I thought you were aiming for the title this season.
I thought 21 is coming.
Yeah. Oh,
I thought 21 was coming. What happened to 21?
What happened to 21? Oh, what happened to the Champions League sport? Oh, vanished the sport. But
personally, I'll say.
Why are you going to earn? Oh, we just came off our
I'm thinking like you could, like your manager could. I do think you guys got a good manager in
the manager again. We keep going back to the manager. The role.
Better than Arteta.
No, but their squad is better than our squad.
But their squad is definitely better than our squad.
No, they need a better manager.
That's yet to be seen. But even if you're on par as managers, the manager with the better squad is clearly going to finish above, no?
But this squad, we're going to have a completely different squad. I hope we have a completely different squad next year. Let me just say that if the manager gets in, can I just say this? Can I answer the original question? I think if Ten Hag gets his signings in, and we get rid of a lot of the deadwood, then we should be competing for top 4. Like I'm not gonna be mad at him if he doesn't get top 4 because it's a huge job at United. Like let's be honest, like we're in the mud at the moment. Like if people can clown us, is the truth. I'll accept the clownery because of
who's it because of.
Absolutely.
Why is it?
The thing is the better manager thing also has to do with a manager who can also apply more common sense. So I'm just going to ask this for instance, Denzel, who do you think is a better goalkeeper, De Gea or Ramsdale?
I think De Gea is a better goalkeeper.
De Gea. Okay.
I know you don't like De Gea.
Okay, I know that this is just for my point. I know, and that's a good argument on the point. But I recognize that my manager understands that we need a goalkeeper who can play out from the back because that fits our style. People may think De Gea is a better goalkeeper than Ramsdale. Good for you. Thumbs up. But I would prefer a goalkeeper who can fit my system and get me more points on the table. And a manager who can recognize what fits his system doesn't always need the flashy names, the big players, good point. He kind of needs the players who can kind of fit into the team, yeah.
Which Ten Hag needs.
The thing is with Ten Hag, yeah, we're not gonna be going for those flashy players. We've tried it with Mourinho, we've tried it with Van Gaal, all the big names, not having a proper transfer structure. We're just going for big names and chucking money at them. With Ten Hag, he's going to be scouting players, and with Randick in the consultancy role as well, we're going to be looking at players that fit Ten Hag's system. We're not going for players with big names.
So you should be good next season then.
It's his first season. We can't be getting angry at him. We have to be patient with the manager. You guys were patient with Arteta. We're gonna have to be patient with Ten Hag. We're in the mud right now. We have to be patient with him. If we do get, I think he should be challenging.
You know, I think we finish above United next season.
No, Arsenal should. If Arsenal don't finish above United, Arteta should be sacked.
Wow.
There's no.
What if United have a really good season?
He should be sacked.
I think we're going to have a better season than people think we will, because there's no way we can get worse than that. Like, that was abysmal. We're not going to get... I think Chelsea are going to decline. I'm sorry to say, Josh, but Chelsea are on the decline. I think
so as well.
Chelsea are on the decline.
I don't think so as well.
You don't think so?
I kind of always feel like how exactly everyone thinks the season is going to go is exactly how it wouldn't go. It's so funny, but the Premier League usually works out that way.
To answer the question,
which is why I just really never used to. But Chelsea do have a transfer window coming up. So we'll see how they do. Yeah, Denzel. Sorry.
I think to answer the question, I think I'm going to be bold and say that I think we'll finish above them, because I think you had a clean swing at it with no. I know you guys don't like to think about the no Europe thing, but it will play a part.
But you're in Europe with us as well, though.
Yeah, I know, but I just feel like if he gets the players he needs, then I feel like we'll finish above you.
We'll revisit this conversation after the transfer window. I think transfer window will be more.
I think that's key.
We'll revisit.
Because if you get your targets, I think if you get Jesus, and that's going to be a huge challenge for you. And I do want to give Arsenal credit as well. One thing that you did this season that you haven't done the previous seasons, you managed to beat the top 6 sides. That's a thing that you couldn't do before, and now you're able to do it. And I think adding a striker,
I do think we should have still gotten some points from. I think that was really what cost us as well. I know people also look at but Spurs got those points against City and Liverpool, and at the end of the day, it got them top 4. So yeah, I think next season we have to beat one of, or at least take points. But I feel like next season we have to beat at least one of City, Liverpool. We can't say we're improving, and after like 3-4 years, we still can't beat City at home or Liverpool at home, even in like in a game.
Yeah, even only BC. So
exactly.
Yeah. That's exactly my point. Yeah, we definitely need to be beating at least one of them at home or anywhere at least next season. But yeah, it will be an exciting season because I feel like everyone is kind of like improving per se. I mean, people say Chelsea aren't. I kind of see Chelsea would definitely try and improve. They're not obviously going to stay the same. They're obviously going to look for ways to improve. So we'll kind of see how it goes next season, but it should be exciting.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, we won't talk about them too much now, but Newcastle's a team we'll look at.
I was gonna say before when you ask for special shout outs, shout out Eddie Howe, Graham Potter, and Patrick Vieira. 3 overachievers.
Yeah, they did well, man. They did well. I like Newcastle a lot, man. I like their players. I like Joe Linton, Guimaraes. They're all good players. I like them. I like their team. They've got a good thing coming. But let's move on to the individuals. Player of the season. We'll say who are you saying? I think we'll say Salah.
I thought Alisson. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Alisson's been the best player.
That's a really good shout. That's a really good shout.
I think Alisson saved them quite a few times.
I'll say Salah. Although I do feel like towards the end of the season, he did really slack off a bit. I don't think anyone, maybe Alisson actually, because I really don't think I can't really think of any outfield player who was consistent from the very start of the season to the end of the season. KDB had this kind of slow start, picked up towards the end. Mane had a really slow start. Not really slow, but he had not the best start, and also finished like very well as well. I think Trent had a good start. He was a bit consistent as well. I think Alisson was really consistent throughout the whole season. Yeah, I know people don't usually look at goalkeepers, but that's actually a really good shout. That I'll probably just stick with Salah, just because of like how he obviously won the Golden Boot, and I think that his start to the season was really good. And towards the end, it's not like he was bad. He kind of set the expectations really high from the start of the season. But yeah, I'll go with Salah.
Tich, who would be your player of the season?
I don't think no one's really stood out. And no, I'm going to put a different spin on it. I'm going to say if you put certain players into the top teams, then I envision how good they would be. So with that,
don't say Declan Rice, please.
No. With my West Ham hat on, I'm actually going to say Jarrod Bowen, because I think that in Europe and in the Premier League, he was fantastic, and he worked so hard off the ball as well. He was scoring goals, and I'm just putting him into a City or a Liverpool, and he'd have had an even better season. So it's easy to say De Bruyne, who what's his name? Who just said he didn't have the best of seasons, but yet he won it. He didn't. So yeah, I'm going to say Bowen. Bowen was consistent. He does a lot for the team, both ends of the pitch. And it's very easy to pick, like your Salahs and your Sons or your KDB. So I'm going to say, outside of the box, I'm going to say Bowen for me.
Football's a scary place if that's true. Denzel. I like Bowen though. I like Bowen. He's a good player. Denzel, what are you saying?
I don't even have one. I'll be honest. I wasn't like massively impressed by one individual player. throughout the
Yeah,
whole
it's
course of
true.
the season.
That's what I'm saying.
So I don't even want to give it to anyone if I'm being honest. But based on the first half of the season, I'll probably edge towards Salah. But I don't think
He
it was
was
an amazing
really
season
good in that
individually
first
for
half.
anyone.
He was really good that first
Before
half. I
AFCON,
think
he was crazy.
After AFCON, he just kind of slacked off.
Yeah, I think looking at the overall picture though, there wasn't anyone that was amazing. Like I think giving it to KDB is just such a lazy decision. I hate it when people say KDB. But it will probably would have PFA won as well because they won the league and everything like that. But I just honorable shout out to Trent as well. Trent was good too.
Trent was good, yeah. Trent was really good as well.
I'll give it to Salah.
So let's make our own nominees. Let's pick 6 players. Yeah, let's make a joint one. So Salah's there. Is that a unanimous one?
Yeah.
I think Son should be there as well.
I think Son there. I think we say Salah, Son, KDB. Those are 3.
Yeah.
KDB.
I think he should at least be nominated.
He should be nominated.
Shout out to Gundogan though. I like Gundogan. He's an honorable mention.
Yeah, I like Gundogan, but I don't think he's been consistent enough for the whole season.
Yeah, I'm not putting him in that. I'm just saying an honorable mention to him.
Yeah.
Silva had a really good start to the season, but
we have KDB there.
Yeah, I think he should be nominated.
It's just so lazy. Like
it's true.
Whatever. Yeah.
That's why I said Alisson, man. I think Alisson is.
I think Trent had a better season than KDB.
I don't know. I think City's success has to be attributed to something, isn't it? And KDB is the most prominent figure of that team, so it's easy to attribute him.
And he was better in the second half of the season. And at the end of the day, I know it, but that is the part that matters. And I know obviously you're looking at it at the context of a full season, but he turned up towards the end. He really turned up, and at least nominated. I don't think he's the best for me, but yeah, at least he should be in like the top 6 best players this season. I think Alisson as well should be in there as well, to be fair.
2 more. Who do the last 2?
That's the thing.
Shout out to the honorable. Oh yeah, I'll let you go.
No, I was gonna say, yeah, I think we're all basically saying the same thing. I don't think no one had unfortunately a standout where it was just he rolls off the tongue. So now you're kind of just picking names, you understand? Because no one's really standing. And that's why, like I said, I'm not deluded, but that's why I said Bowen, just because it wasn't the norm and, whatever. But realistically, no. But I'm saying, I'll give it to him because no one was really there. I don't know. I mean, even look at Ronaldo. Ronaldo, Man United was poor. They've had the worst season. But this guy was close to the top goal scorer, and he played less games than the others, and he still managed to be almost. You understand? So I'm saying, like, he done his job. Cristiano Ronaldo actually done his job. The team around him didn't.
He was shit for most of the season, though. I don't
18
care.
league goals in the worst.
Of all
time.
Come
on now.
If we're talking about consistent performances, and someone who plays all the time and is consistent, Bukayo Saka has to be in that conversation. He's consistently performed for
100%. He had a really good season.
Maybe not player of the year level, but he's consistently performed.
He's a nominee. Yeah, I'll accept that. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no real players like that.
What about Declan Rice? Do you lot appreciate what Declan Rice brings to anything? Because
I rate him,
but I rate him incredibly highly.
I think the price tag that you slapped on him is crazy, though. It's insanity.
But it's because he's
quality.
Time, innit?
He's quality, though. He's best CDM in the league, in my opinion.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I think so as well.
Who would you say is the most improved player this season?
Ooh, good question.
Maybe Ramsdale from last season when he got relegated.
That's a really good shout. Yeah, that's a really good shout.
Maybe.
Who else can I think of?
Wait. How long has Cucurella been at Brighton?
That's a very good shout as well, actually.
Well, who?
He was there last season, and if so, then I would
think he was.
I would say him.
He was there, yeah.
Because I know he came there, and like people were speaking about him, but I didn't really see much. But then this season, you're actually seeing what you understand. So I would say for me, my most improved would be him because last year he didn't really do anything too much that I was noticeable. So I'd say Cucurella.
Fair enough.
I think that's a good shout,
Yeah,
Joe
I forgot
Linton.
player.
Joe Linton.
Oh, he's another one.
Yeah, nah, that was
another
it.
one. Yeah.
Joe
It
Linton.
was it wasn't Joe Linton thing. That was like it wasn't consistently throughout the whole season. There was a period in time where
No, but he was
yeah,
crap.
Yeah.
Last season he was crap.
yeah,
And
Yeah,
this season he's been
and he kind of had
I don't
the
know.
position. He had the position change, and then he started
he's been
playing
useful.
better. Yeah,
He's gonna go
true.
down.
He's
Yeah.
a shout.
Alright.
Yeah.
Actually, you know what? It might actually be him because he
Yeah.
looked awful, and then he
Yeah.
had some and he's changed position. You know, actually, no, you'd probably have to give it to him if you think about it from last season.
He was probably like he was useless.
He was one of the
Like,
worst
he
players
was,
in the league.
Yeah, he was one of the worst, probably the worst player in the league. Yeah, he did have a massive improvement this season.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Is there much to talk about in the Premier League? I think we've covered everything. Quick shout out to AC Milan. Title in over 10 years. You know,
Zlatan.
they got a good team there. Tomori, Liao, Tonali,
Liao, shout out to myself. I mentioned Liao like last season, early last season, about how well he was and how like we're talking about young players who are like upcoming and stuff like that. And yeah, it's just crazy how he the next season after he's he was the best player, the MVP. I think that's what they call it, in the Serie A, and yeah, leading them to a title is just crazy because he's still so young. I thought we should also be going for him as a that's Arsenal. I thought we should be going for him as a target as well. But yeah, brilliant season for me.
Can I shout out Zlatan Ibrahimovic? He won the Scudetto at 40 years old. Milan hadn't won it for 11 years. Now, I know that when he was coming back from MLS, he wanted to come back to Serie A. He wanted to come to Napoli to pay homage to Maradona. You know, it didn't materialize. Then he looked at a bit of paper and said, which team needs me the most? Milan had just lost, I think, 6-0 to someone. He said, we're going to Milan. That's how we picked them. And now in that first season back, he's won the Scudetto. So big up Zlatan Ibrahimovic.
Hopefully,
legend. That's a legend.
Yeah, big legend, man. Hopefully they do some good business in the summer so they can improve on the Champions League.
Yeah.
Out in the group stages isn't good enough.
But Italian football struggles in Europe, though, recently anyway. So I don't think that should be like a target. I think they should try and retain that league.
I think that's overstated.
They should definitely try and come out of the group for starters. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But yeah, true.
Before we go into the Champions League final, let's talk about Mbappe signing the new contract.
I even forgot about that with all the craziness that happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not really going to lead this. I don't really care too much. But what's our thoughts on him staying? So is that just indicative of where football is now with player contracts and stuff like that?
Money talks, obviously. This guy, you know, he claimed that his heart was always set around Madrid from a kid. He could have went there. It was all in place. Now the La Liga are looking to sue or legal action against PSG. I've also heard today when I was at training that part of his contract is that he has a say as to who comes in as manager and basically the day-to-day running of the club, which I think is ridiculous. So
I don't know how true is that though.
I don't know, but
I wouldn't put it past him. I'll be honest.
I wouldn't put it past, but it seems a lot. It seems a lot.
Well,
I don't think it does. Ronaldo, I mean, more or less has that sort of say at most clubs he's at.
But now, to put that pen to paper, maybe it's like to some. Maybe it is being over exaggerated to an extent. Maybe they say he can advise on it, or like he can give his opinion on it. Yeah,
consultancy.
A consultancy. Yeah.
So
but he definitely can be the one to like. He definitely can be the one to be like. He definitely can be the one to like sack players and like hire like
But he's probably consulted, innit? They ask him like, would you like this manager? Would you like this? Would you like this player?
100%, yeah.
Which I don't think I agree with them.
I personally believe
I don't agree with that as well. Yeah, I think that's too much power for him.
No player is bigger than the club, no matter how small your club is.
I think that if you look at it, he didn't sign a contract. He was all set to leave. So now the fact that he has stayed there and done a complete 180 is that I don't think he's staying there for the right reasons. I think it's all money and the fact is Real Madrid have got a lot of good youngsters in Vinicius and Rodrigo. Benzema's in the form of his life. He knows him, from playing for France and all of that. Clearly, his money has come into play when he could have, you know, fulfilled his dream and went to Real Madrid. So I'm a bit surprised that he done that, especially as you've had all this time to sign a new contract and commit to them, and now at the, you know, the final hour you've done it. So yeah, money in it. They done everything to keep him, and I think that all of this ambassador role and consultancy, I believe that because they were desperate to keep him.
Yeah, where you would be. He's incredible. Yeah, Denzel.
At first, when I saw that he decided to stay at PSG, I was a bit disappointed because I wanted him to go to Real Madrid to like take his career to the next level and become that all-time great player that we know he's going to become. I was like, oh man, you should, because you don't really want to be seeing Mbappe in League One all the time. You want to see him like in
exactly
a top league and all that. But the more I thought about it, I was like, nah, I'm actually kind of happy that he stayed at PSG because it's good to see Real Madrid like
be used as a stalking horse.
Exactly, like Real Madrid can hold that because for years they've been coming around, taking clubs' best players like it's nothing, acting like they're entitled to the best and acting like they're entitled to the cream of the crop.
It is a bit hypocritical. It is a bit hypocritical.
No, but Real Madrid.
As if Fergie didn't used to.
Pause. No, because another point I want to make. Every single year, Ferguson had a world-class player. Real Madrid would come and pickpocket that player from us. So we did it to other teams, fair enough. But there was always the bigger guy on top that
When was
did it
this?
to us, which is Ruud van Nistelrooy, David Beckham, CR7. Come on, bro. They always
That's
used to
like
come and
7
take
years
our
in between them purchases.
Bro, you're acting. Come on. Everyone knows that Real Madrid used to take Man United's best players. Like if we had
They used to do that to everyone.
Talent,
Barcelona used to do it to everyone
that's
as well.
what I'm saying. They're the big bully in football.
Both teams
and
are
it's good.
crooks.
They're the big bully in football. And
I
it's good to see that players finally
one
said
thing
no.
that I think one thing that a lot of people are thinking is that, like, I mean, he was going to earn a lot of money in Madrid as well. Like he was going to earn a lot. People think he chose between like he was going to be playing in Madrid for free or something like that. Like Madrid were definitely going to offer him an insane amount of wages. Obviously, PSG are offering more, but like in comparison to what he would have been earning in Madrid, it might not have been as far as everyone really thinks, because I know Madrid were prepared to do anything as well to get Mbappe, and they were paying no transfer fee as well. So they would have definitely given him a very crazy contract. And he's really young as well. People are forgetting. By the time his 3-year contract is up, he's 26 and 27. And that is that's the prime. You know, that is a prime. That's a really good age to make a move to Madrid. They wouldn't want him like again, but I know they're just really like, I know when the time comes and Mbappe is available, they definitely would be interested again. But
are we believing the rumors that Mbappe wants Neymar gone? Do we think that's a real thing? And if so, where's Neymar going? Newcastle?
I think Mbappe loves Neymar.
You should go Real.
I think Mbappe loves Neymar. I don't know, but yeah. And also he's a French player. Paris is his hometown, so I'm sure to some part of him as well, he has some sentiment to PSG, and I'm sure he would also like to feel like he has unfinished business there because he hasn't won the Champions League with them, and probably just wants to do that. Yeah, and he could also really cement himself as he's obviously a PSG legend now. That just shows how like small they are. But not really, because he has really been good in the past couple of years. But he can really cement his place as he probably will become their all-time goal scorer. Not even probably, he definitely will become their all-time goal scorer. And just really cement himself as a legend. Hopefully brings the Champions League back home. And then after all his business is all done there, make his move to wherever his dream club may be, if they're still open to accept him.
Awesome.
I think what he did wrong was kind of like baiting Madrid and kind of like playing that kind of like teasing game where like he wasn't definite on where, because Madrid were really sure that they were going to get him. Though, because you know they always brag and they always just act like they're the power horses and they can get anybody, but I think what he kind of did wrong was kind of just like teasing, although he doesn't owe them anything, he doesn't owe anyone anything, but maybe just from like you know,
as a personal, like, as a was sportsmanship kind of thing. He should have just been upfront, from the start and just say, I'm not coming to the club, so, and I'll make my decision. But he kind of waited so long. Even the whole thing was making the decision. They made it such a whole like big
It was LeBron
season
James,
game.
man.
Yeah, they made it such a whole debacle. It was but I mean, he's staying now. We'll see how they do. But yeah.
Let's go on to the Champions League final then. I saw something. Thiago's out, so that's going to be a big loss for them. And I don't know if
it would be a big loss. Yeah.
I don't know if Fabinho's back as well. So you might be seeing Henderson, Milner, Keita, midfield trio. But let's go around. So Tich, who's your favourites and score prediction?
I think I'm going to do a watch along for that game as well. I think it's with the injuries and all of that, and Liverpool probably didn't expect to win the Premier League, but they were still in it till so they've had a bit of disappointment. Real Madrid's home form has sort of kept them in this competition, and they don't have that luxury. But I've got a sneaky feeling Real Madrid are going to win this. If they just know how to navigate their way around this competition, they're going to win. So I'm going to say Real Madrid 2-1.
Nah, I hear that, man. Real Madrid, like, ultimate heritage team in the Champions League. But Liverpool have heritage too, so that's the thing. So,
yeah.
Injuries will play a big part. That Madrid defense is sus, man. It's a sus defense. But you got Benzema, you got Modric. You got all-timers there, man. You got
Vinicius.
Yeah, Vinicius, yeah. They got players there, man. Liverpool have the motivation now that they've lost the league as well. That added is a tight one, because another thing for Real Madrid is there's also this thing about Ronaldo in it. Like Ronaldo won them the 3 Champions League, all that nonsense. Now they have the opportunity to almost win it without him. It kind of stamps that authority for like the Benzemas, the Modric, the Krooses, that Casemiro's like, we pulled our weight.
They can do it without him. Yeah, true.
Carlo as well. Carlo has that thing, because I was saying I still don't think he's a good manager right nowadays, but for the legacy thing, like
I actually personally didn't think he'd do a good job in Madrid. Honestly,
he's done a stellar job.
He has really surprised me, beyond expectations, really. I guess there's just something about him and Madrid. I guess they just fit like a glove. There's always like some managers have that with that club where they just like click and it's just kind of like but I don't know. I would probably just edge it with Liverpool. I don't know. I think the fact that there is, like Titch was saying, there is no home advantage, there's no home game, it's just one tie, and I think the Madrid have kind of been relying on the fact of coming back kind of thing.
We need to mention corruption. We have to mention it. The referees are going to be on Madrid sides. They're going to be on Madrid's side.
That corruption thing is not a thing no more.
Did they get many favors?
Wait for Madrid ain't there no more.
They had the hardest fixture. They had the hardest route to the final.
Bro, Casemiro should have been sent off like 5 years ago.
They had PSG, then they had the champions of Europe, then the champions of England, and the favourites. That's the hardest route to the final. If there was corruption, they would have had Liverpool's route. They would have had Porto and Villarreal.
You wait for want Liverpool to win it. Or Benfica. You wait for want Liverpool to win it. Because for them, for Paris to do what they did last time with the Super League.
You're forgetting.
Listen. Let me land. Okay. For what Paris tried to do to them with the Super League thing, he tried to muddy UEFA. So for them to come back the next season and then win the whole contest, like that's a piss in UEFA's face, basically.
Yeah.
So realistically, UEFA will want Liverpool to win.
Bro, UEFA are prostitutes, bro.
Well, I just want to say something. Real Madrid didn't have PSG in the round of 16. Who remembers the mistake that they made?
What do you mean? Oh, with the draws.
The draws, yeah.
I can't remember who. I think PSG might have had Bayern or something.
PSG had United.
PSG had United.
Okay,
Yeah. Madrid had a very easy draw. So maybe that indeed was actually the corruption. You can never know, because you're saying they had a very hard group of fixtures.
Yeah.
But originally it was not meant to be that way until people noticed that there was something wrong
Maybe they rigged it
with the draw. So I
you
mean,
never know.
they could have probably had a way easier draw without that happening. So you never really can tell. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a really interesting game, to be fair. Yeah, it could go either way, really. Like, I don't think anyone will be surprised with either winner. But
If Liverpool lose, did they have a bit of a reputation as a nearly team, a nearly great, not quite done it? Because that's a couple of times in both the league and the Champions League they've lost.
they've lost, yeah.
they
And the
could have-
Champions League that they won was against Spurs, yeah. And the
Ultimate
league title
Butters.
they won
No fans.
was a COVID league, and City were very poor that season. Not very, but they had about like 80 wins.
Even United were good in that COVID season, so
Yeah,
that COVID season was an anomaly.
So yeah, I guess there is this thing in terms of Klopp's time. Like he has a brilliant squad and he's doing like an incredible job. But yeah, if they do list to Real Madrid, he'll be really upset. Because I think one thing he can really bank on, despite the fact that like Pep has been dominating the league, like if he's doing his job in Champions League, then 2 Champions Leagues in 7 years, it's really impressive.
Incredible,
no matter which way you look at it, yeah. So I'm sure he would also be looking to kind of get that, because it would just really boost up his legacy at his time in Liverpool. But yeah, tactically, I really don't know how that game would work out. I think Liverpool would probably have the front foot. I think Real Madrid would step back a bit. Let Liverpool, I know Madrid would try and counter and stuff. It really just shows that also how high the levels, because even City, I know Real Madrid did win in the end, but City played a lot better than Madrid. Even Chelsea, even in the second leg, Chelsea played a lot better than Madrid. So Premier League teams are really, I know obviously they have lost, so it doesn't really seem like a good argument, but I do think Chelsea and City really did play better against Madrid. So I'd expect Liverpool to play better as well. It just really depends on, but Madrid do have the whole just that vibe about them, where they could just they know the competition inside out and stuff like that. But I expect Liverpool to play better. So if the better team wins, then Liverpool would win, in my opinion.
I'm still gonna go for Madrid, man. Dan, what are you saying?
Unfortunately, I can't see Liverpool bottling both the league and the Champions League. I think Liverpool will win it, but hopefully Madrid pull it off.
Denzel?
I'm gonna go with Liverpool. 2 mentality monsters, but I'll go with Liverpool.
Fair enough. Hey, we've been at it for a minute. Last I don't know. We might still do a couple more. We'll see, and we might still do a couple more EPs before the new season starts. So watch out for that. Big up Titch, man, for coming on, man. It was great to have you on. Hey, you're on mute.
I don't know what happened there. It's my pleasure, and I do like the banter between Denzel and what's his name again?
All right.
Yeah, I like that. So no, it's good, man. It's good to sit down and just chat and hear perspectives from the Arsenal, the 2 from Arsenal. Because I don't really go on other channels like that, so it is good to sit and just hear you lot's thoughts, especially on the things that transpired with Arsenal and thoughts for next season. Man United, obviously, with Denzel, who obviously didn't have a great season. So yeah, it was good. It's good for me to sit down and just listen to you lot speaking football.
Yeah, man, it was a pleasure. So you might know the usuals: like, comment, subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to Titch's channel. It'll be in the description below, so make sure you keep out for that. But like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you know when we're posting. And yeah, people, thanks for this support this season. Come back stronger and bigger. So love you, man. Out. Peace.
Yeah.